Has already summoned the airline for what it says is unprofessional conduct and has asked the airline to assume responsibility. Now to our main discussion. President Bola Tinubu is ready for any challenge from opposition leaders during the 2027 general election. That's the message from the presidency on the meeting of opposition leaders in the country. The presidency faulted comments by the political opponents against the administration, describing them as distracting. It advised opposition figures and other critics to wait till the next poll before flexing muscles. At the two-day democracy conference in Abuja, the 2023 presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar, his Labour Party counterpart, Peter Obi, and former Kaduna State Governor, Nasir El-Rufai, threw tantrums at the federal government, saying that it was not living to expectation. Malam El-Rufai, a chieftain of the APC, alleged a lack of internal democracy and active party structures within the governing party. Now, Governor of Kaduna State, Uba Sani, joins me on the program from our Abuja studio. Good to have you join us at this time, Governor Sani. Let's begin with the statement coming from your predecessor, Nasir El-Rufai, that your party, the APC, lacks internal democracy. The El-Rufai that you know, don't you agree that he is speaking truth to power, or is he speaking from the pain of not being a minister, as some have alleged?
Thank you very much for having me. For me, I will prepare to talk generally about the interior position of the opposition, because from what happened, a lot of people made comments, particular about the issue of the position of some of the politicians generally, about President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and of course the reason for the opposition. If you ask me the question holistically, I can tell you that most of those positions raised by the coalition of the opposition politicians are wrong, not even really what is happening on the ground. When you talk about APC generally, I can tell you as a member of APC, we have been engaging ourselves. Of course, I cannot say we're perfect, but I can say that most of the people that are making the comments are also members of our own party, and most of them are foundation members of APC from the beginning. And of course, that is the reason why I was really surprised when I had the coalition of politicians coming together at this critical time to make most of those comments they made. And for me, I can say it was really unfortunate because some of them were even calling for people to come out and take laws into their hands, oppose the government in a way that I feel is undemocratic. Of course, I also want to make it clear here that if you ask me, we're in a democratic dispensation, and we have virtually just 2.5 years to the next election. And any politician who feels he's popular or he can defeat Bola Ahmed Tinubu or APC, I think they need to go and work very hard and present themselves in the next election, which will be 2027. There's still time, but they can go back to the drawing board and mobilize and come out. But what I can say here is that as someone who is a governor, I can say that the current government under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have done extremely well. And of course, I'm not talking just because I'm an APC governor. Even the PDP governors can bear witness that we usually sit down and talk in our forum, and they made us understand, some of us that are first-time governors, that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have really supported subnationals more than any other president in the history of Nigeria. And I can say this thing without any fear of contradiction. And of course, some of us can tell you that probably because President Bola Ahmed Tinubu have a lot of reason to do that, he has the best democratic credentials than any other person held that position in the past. As someone who fought for the enthronement of democracy in Nigeria, as someone who believed in the rule of law, democracy, and equality. So probably that is the reason why he has been doing extremely well to carry even the opposition governors along and all of us in terms of ensuring that he supported everyone.
I hear you, Governor Sani, but if we may speak to what, Malam El-Rufai said now about the fact that the APC in about 2 years now has not held a NEC meeting. It hasn't had, an NWC meeting. What is a lie in what is said? Have you as a governor and a member of the APC National Executive Council attended, NEC meeting in the last 2 years?
Of course, the APC have come out openly and met the response. If you listen to what they say clearly, you agree with me that most of those allegations are not correct. And the fact that we're all in APC, and even not just recently, there was a meeting which we call, and of course a lot of meetings have been taking place at different level of APC in our country, even in Kaduna State at the national level. But of course, that was the reason why the APC came out only a few days ago. The National Secretary of the party, Senator Bashiru Ajibola, came out and made the clarification. I don't want to repeat him, but I believe he answered every question at his own interview, which I watched the interview from the beginning to the last minute, and he answered every question as a member of the National Working Committee and NEC of the APC. So for me, this is just one area the coalition talked about. But I will prepare, because that one has been answered already by the National Secretary of APC, and I can tell you that what he said, I really associate myself with that because he was accurate. Right. I watch him, and if you watch him very well, he answered every question. And as someone who is a governor, and I can tell you that most of those allegations against APC were not correct. That's what I can say here.
All right,
but looking
Governor,
at the issue holistically, yeah.
I hear you, Governor Sani, and we actually spoke with him here on the program, in the past week. But let's also look at, the statement that it does appear the APC, your party, is working to destabilize the opposition. I'm curious if you share the same school of thought. Those who think that what we actually need is, an opposition that is critical of the government at the center in order to put them to check.
Let me clarify this issue also made it very, maybe in a very simple way. Most of those politicians that made those comments that day, I watched them, but I can tell you maybe they are talking to themselves, because we used to be in the same party at a certain point. But you see why I'm really surprised and shocked. Let me be very frank with you. I don't want to be like other people that came and made comments on this issue, but I want to be very blunt. Knowing my own antecedent, I'm coming from civil rights movement, so I cannot come here and speak like a politician. I want to be very sincere to you in the way I'm going to answer your question. Number one, when they are coming out with allegations without any facts, is just trying to confuse Nigerians. And don't forget, most of these politicians that came out and said they are coming as a coalition were just politicians that were holding political office just recently. When I say recently, there are politicians that were in government only less than 2 years ago. And if I can ask you, what did they do when they were in government? That is number one. And the reason why people will not take them serious, let me be very frank with you, they're only fighting for power, not because they can do anything better. That is the point, because they were in power for almost 8 years, most of them, some more than 8 years. But if you ask me, what have they done? What did they do when they were in power? That is the fact. It's all struggle about power and nothing more than that. And Nigerians are extremely very clever. They are very, they are watching what is happening. They know they are not fighting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu simply because they can offer something better than him. They had opportunity in the past. What did they do? And most of them, just recently, they were singing praises of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Is it because most of them are not in government today? Is that the reason why they are now saying something different? Because To be frank, we were together with them, sitting on the same table, fighting for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu simply because we believe he is the best man to move this country forward. And that was the reason why virtually most of the people making these comments were with us. And even if you look at the antecedent of most of those politicians that came together to say they are Democrats, what is their own democratic credentials, if I may ask? What is their democratic credential? What have they done to move democracy forward in this country? What was their own contribution toward entrenching democracy in Nigeria? Look,
all right.
There is none of them have close to Bola Ahmed Tinubu in terms of democratic credentials in this country. He fought for democracy. He believes in democracy. And that is the reason why I'm telling you, as a subnational, that no president of Nigeria have really practiced democracy like President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
All right, Governor Sani, we need to take a break now. I hear you, Governor Sani. We need to take a break now. When we come back, we'll talk some more, including the relationship between you and your predecessor, Nasir El-Rufai. Please stay with us on the program. We'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. My guest is the governor of Kaduna State, Uba Sani. Now, Governor Sani, it is not on record that you admitted there is a frosty relationship with your predecessor. But what we see actually speaks otherwise. Talk about the planned probe and some kind of altercation between the son of El-Rufai and, some state lawmakers who are actually loyal to you. What do you make of this and what do you say about it?
I can tell you there's not any problem between myself and my predecessor. I have to correct you there. Our relationship is very cordial and there's nothing wrong with our relationship. What is more important here is about moving our state forward. And I don't know why you're talking about the National State Assembly. State Assembly is also an independent arm of government that operates independently. Don't forget, I was in the Senate. I was also a senator, and I know the way we run our National Assembly was on the Senate. And I was chairing one of the most important committees, and I could not remember at any time when anybody from the executive interfered in what we were doing. So there is nothing. So it's just speculation, and I want you to also just focus more on Kaduna State than myself and my predecessor put all of us together. I don't think we're as important as Kaduna State. Kaduna State is more important than myself, than my predecessor. We're talking about 11 million people of Kaduna, and I think you should focus on that.
All right, Governor Sani. And, talking about democracy, of course, as it is, and the issue of opposition, and the opposition exists to put government in check and all of that. But how strong do you perceive the opposition to be in Nigeria? Because there have been concerns, there have been some statements that the opposition is actually weak and not playing its role as it should.
Yeah, let me just say it that the opposition, in my own opinion, have every right to come out and speak about what they feel. And of course, as someone who have spent many years fighting for democracy, I was in the opposition for many years. During the military era, I was in the opposition, and I was also in the opposition during the democratic dispensation. So I can tell you that there's nothing wrong in opposing a sitting government. But what I'm saying here is that you must be able to be constructive. You must be able to oppose a government simply because you have seen something going wrong, or maybe there's something that you feel is not going right. But for me, I think most of the people commenting or criticizing this government, they have not been able to come up with alternative. If they say the government is doing A, B, C, can you come up with something that is an alternative? Don't just criticize without coming up with something. That's the reason why I believe they are just opposing the government for the sake of power, not because they believe the current president or the current government is doing something wrong. If you look at the policy of this government, I can tell you, you can see that things are getting better. The president inherited a very bad economy, like we said, but you see, of course, he has not come out to complain for a day because he's a good leader. He focused on his own job, and he also asked all of us to focus on our job. Sitting here, nobody is coming to complain about how we inherited the system. We are focused on what we can do to better Nigeria. And I can tell you, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has a lot that he is doing to move this country forward. We are working closely with him as of nationals, and you can see some of the policies of the government. Some are painful at the beginning, but I have no doubt in my mind it's a matter of time.
I hear you, Governor.
Even turning the corner. That is a fact.
All right, I hear you, and I would like you, to really stay on this and talk about some of this because, the points that are being raised in the political space there are mostly get towards 2027, and while a number of people have continued to drum support for the president, it would be important to mention really what you consider to be the profound thing that the president has done, in the last few months that he's been in power, to actually help people know that, okay, he has done something.
Okay, let me say it here. I know I'm from Kaduna, and I'm the governor of Kaduna State. When I came in as the governor, I can tell you the issue of security in Kaduna was really bad. We have about 4 local governments that, if you go to Kaduna, you cannot even enter those local governments without security. And most of our people there are farmers. They don't go to farm any longer. Our markets were closed, some of them for 10 years. And there was a lot of problem in security. But today, I can tell you, because of the support of the current government, our partnership with the Office of National Security Advisor, 4 local governments in Kaduna State, namely Benengwari, Giwa, Igabi, and Kachia. I can tell you today we are having relative peace in those local governments. And I can tell you also that more than 200 people that were kidnapped before I came as a governor have been released. Our markets that were closed for 10 years have been opened. So in Kaduna, the most important area of focus is security, because if we don't resolve the issue of insecurity, we cannot be able to have any meaningful development in education, in healthcare, in agriculture. Knowing fully that agriculture contributes about 42.8% of our GDP. Today, I can tell you, our farmers have gone back to the farm. Our business people, particularly the petty traders in the villages, are now doing their businesses. And most importantly, our people can go back to their house and sleep their eyes closed. That is the most important thing. For me, I must give credit to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because the result of this, the reason why we are getting this result is because of the collaboration between our state government and the Office of the NSA. That is number one. Number 2, most of the intervention we are getting from the federal government in the area of agriculture is something that is unprecedented in the history of Nigeria. And whether we like it or not, whether you are in the APC or in the opposition, you must give credit to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Again, when you look at most of the policies of this government that affects of national directly, you must give credit to the federal government. So that's
I hear you, Governor Sani.
As far as I'm concerned,
yes, I hear you, Governor. You've spoken extensively about security, and of course we know that the responsibility of every government is the security and welfare of its people. And talking about welfare, economy is very critical. One of the policies that the president has put forward, is the removal of, subsidy on petrol, which of course has brought with it a whole lot of, challenges, in the aspect of the economy, high inflation and all of that are happening. What do you consider what really has to be done at this time to help the situation? Because yes, the policies might be working, but the people are not exactly feeling the impact.
Yeah, I can tell you that it depends on how you look at it also. For me, when you are making very important reforms, sometimes, like I told you at the beginning, most of these reforms are painful. There's no doubt about that. But as we are speaking, we're gradually getting the result of most of these reforms, including the fuel subsidy. When I came as a governor, let me be very frank with you, without the remote fuel subsidy, I want to be blunt here, it could have been difficult. Most of the governors coming out to speak here, whether they're APC or PDP, most of them don't want to tell the truth, because every governor in Nigeria will tell you that his allocation has increased. That is number one. For someone like me, coming from Kaduna, every month I always have 4.7 billion deduction from the fact because of the loan I've inherited. And without the subsidy, there's no way I can pay salary in Kaduna. That is the issue, the remote fuel subsidy. That's number one. Number two, I can also tell you that, look, if you talk about the fact that there's inflation, that cost of goods are going up in the market, today as we are speaking, only 2 months ago, the bag of rice was almost 117,000. But go to Benengwari as we are speaking, the bag of rice today in Benengwari is less than 60,000. That is progress. And I can tell you, by end of this year, certainly, the bag of rice will come down to almost 40,000 or thereabout.
All right, Governor Sani, and that is the expectation, really, of the people. I hear you, Governor. You know, that is the expectation of the people, really, that this price would actually be affordable. It's been a pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us. Governor Uba Sani of Kaduna State, thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's our program today. A repeat broadcast comes up at midnight and at 6 a.m. Let's do this again tomorrow. I'm Abosedi Adeniwa Dureni. Bye for now.